I'm very grateful to be here. A lot of people told me that I'd never wrestle again. And that's all I do. You know, if you live hard and you play hard and you burn the candle at both ends, you pay the price for it. You know, in this life you can lose everything that you love, everything that loves you. Now, I don't hear as good as I used to, and I forget stuff. And I ain't as pretty as I used to be. But goddamn it, I'm still standing here, and I'm the ramp.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Nothing is right. I am uncomfortable. It's like I'm doing this from the dentist chair.
Quasi-sexual, just saying.
Yeah. That the other wrestler there has got a dead man on him right now. Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
Woo! The greater good.
Nice. That's not bad. That's a good Ric Flair. This is episode 411, and tonight we're talking about The Wrestler, 2008's The Wrestler. I am Shawn Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. Invites young children into his house to play old video games. Jimison.
When you put it that way, I'm not digging this middle name.
Which is why it's yours.
Yes. I'd back off on that one a bit.
Also making his return, I guess, continuing his return. I don't know why I'm saying it this way, but is Sam is really glad Marissa Tomei was cast as a stripper. Vector.
I mean, glory be. Glory be. I'm almost willing to not kill you this week for putting this movie in front of my eyes as heaven opened up and gave us the glory that is Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
But if I was going to kill you, it would definitely be from the top ring or the top rope. Probably an elbow to the face. So
okay.
You do a ram jam?
I'll do a ram jam.
Do a ram jam on him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, ram jam just sounds a little quasi-sexual, just saying.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that a lot of wrestling?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out tonight.
Yeah, okay.
And making his Cheapseat Reviews debut is Drew. I should say his name right first. Drew, how do you feel about Staples from the Attitude Era Wrestling Review podcast?
Hello, everybody. Staples? No, we'll talk about that later. Staples the store? Yes. Staples out of a gun in my skin? No.
No, you're not for that, huh?
No, I'll get. I get angered.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't.
Well, I would think angered. I've heard that when wrestlers would use tacks, which they used in the movie as well, they shortened the barb on it just a little bit, so it's not as stabby stab. I would hope that the staplers are the same thing, right? Where it's not just, a quarter inch of metal going into your skin.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. So before we dive into this movie, I have to talk about wrestling for just a moment.
Please do.
And our guest is a wrestling aficionado. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So, Drew, take a moment here real quick before Andrew goes on whatever weird tangent he's going to do. And explain what your podcast is and, frankly, why I forced you to watch this movie.
Forced is a good word. You ram jammed this movie in my eyeballs. Me and my tag team partner, Aaron Arnold, who couldn't be here tonight, we go back and watch wrestling from about 25 years ago, and we just watch the weekly shows. We review it, we talk about it, we argue about it, and we tell you whether we liked it or not. It's pretty. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, that works.
Now, which one though? I mean, I know back in college there was the World Wrestling Federation, or the World Wildlife Federation. I'm sorry. And then there was the other one. I can't even remember what the other one was.
WWE.
It was like one was Monday, one was like Thursday or something like that. I had a roommate that was really into it, but I think they merged, didn't they?
Yes, there was World Wrestling Federation or World Wrestling Entertainment as it became after they got sued.
Yep.
Yeah, WWE. Well, it was WWF back when we watched it, and there was WCW. They were both on Mondays to start with.
Oh, okay.
WCW.
Okay.
I remember
So
now.
yes, we do both. We watch both.
Or you did
So
back then, or you do now? Are they separate again?
Well, we watched it from 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So are you talking
WCW
like?
is long out of business.
Yeah.
Are you talking
Yeah, we
like
watched-
Macho Man, Randy Savage, like?
Oh yeah,
Was it Rowdy Piper? Was that his name?
Roddy Park. Yep.
Did I get that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you did.
Okay.
If
remember-
you guys ever want to do the movie They Live, call me.
Nice. Well, I grew up with my grandfather loving everything about professional wrestling, and I probably watched hours of professional wrestling with my grandfather, and even got to go to professional wrestling and see it live when I was like 7. So probably too young to be in these places, but it's a vivid memory. But what I wanted to talk about was I was invited to be on the wrestling team in high school, and my best friend at the time told me he was on the wrestling team and told me that there was this issue with somebody that tried to pick another guy up, and somehow his middle and ring finger ended up in the anus of the other guy, and somehow slipped into his singlet. And from that moment on, I thought, no, wrestling is not for me. So that was my wrestling story.
A noose. Oh.
A noose, yes.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Sphincter,
Yeah.
butthole.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, the places it should not be going.
Places, yeah. So wrestling was never my thing. But I did date a wrestler, a female wrestler. Let me clarify.
Is that like dating softball players?
I think so.
Okay. Nice.
So wrestling has a special place in my heart and in my life. So I'm glad that you're with us tonight.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So
I don't know how to follow that up.
no, it's
I know,
fine.
right? I don't think anybody can. Really.
I don't think that guy did either.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't have any. Okay, I have zero interest, history, past story with granddad or dad or whatever with wrestling. I watched it about 5 minutes when I was in high school and said, "Nope, this is dumb. I'm going to go watch Star Wars instead." So you can see the irony there, right?
I just did both.
And so this was a fun time. So we'll sorry, I'm pausing. I don't know if the recording can hear this, but there's a weird noise in my headset right now.
So listeners, if you notice something a little different tonight, this is called Shawn's anxiety.
Yeah.
So Shawn usually records using 2 computers, and one computer we have set up for a lot of our sound effects and things. And Shawn is visibly disheveled tonight. And we just want to say we love you. That's all we want to say, Shawn.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Shawn's anxiety is definitely the name of the episode. Yeah. So the sound clips you ladies and gentlemen listening at home that you'll hear will have done in post. So there's going to be no reaction to them, at least nothing that's honest. And
That's behind the curtain.
Every look, there is no curtain on this podcast. I lay it all out there.
It's an ugly stained sheet is what we lay on this podcast.
Nothing is right. I am uncomfortable. It's like I'm doing this from the dentist chair, right? Like everything is it's just awful. I don't.
Finally, my virus has made it to his computer.
Oh
Andrew.
my gosh.
It's finally worked.
Your plan has taken 8 years.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, this if this computer does in fact die, this will be the third computer that I will have had doing this job since the podcast started.
Wow.
But in fairness, the very first one I had, I bought for $50 from a friend. I don't think he's a listener anymore. It was Jake Carpenter, who gave me the oldest, like the first generation Mac laptop invented, right? Like the case was plastic. Like it was a plastic, this thing, it lasted about 6 months before iTunes just gave up and just said, no, we're done. But anyway, but no, this
are you saying, sorry, I was just going to ask, are you saying that these computers are past their prime?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, this one certainly is right now. Since we started the recording, I have rebooted it and it has still not come back online. So, yeah.
Let's try.
This is a sad night for me. But we're going to trudge on. I'm still excited to have Drew here to talk about this movie, which is 2008's The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke, Marissa Tomei, and really no one else of consequence.
No.
I mean, Evan Rachel Wood is in this, and she's lovely, but she's only in it for about 5 minutes, and everybody else is, just people.
Yeah.
Background and
that's
and whatever. So this is also directed by Dan Aronofsky. We've seen him before on the podcast with such films as Mother.
Yes.
He directed Mother, which we were all a little confused about until we realized what the hell we were actually watching.
Yeah. Agreed.
But we've also done Noah. We also watched Noah, which we hated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think, I was not on that one because I would have defended it a little bit more than you guys did. So
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So he's known for such films as Requiem for a Dream, Pi, The Fountain, Black Swan.
Weird stuff.
Yeah.
Out there.
Some weird
except
stuff.
this one wasn't that out there.
This is not a weird movie. You're right. When you say, like, when I think of Requiem for a Dream, I think of that music, and this was a movie that gave me nightmares in college. That movie like really gave me bad dreams in college. So
yeah.
So when I found out that he directed this, I thought, oh, I'm in for some weird shit. And no, there is nothing weird in this other than just the world. If you're unaware of the world of
wrestling,
what do you call this, Drew? It's not professional wrestling, but it's like, like semi-pro wrestling. Like what do you call this?
I think it's
Are you talking about the one? Are you talking about the one scene where just has it's
in general
independent indie wrestling?
Okay.
So was he? I mean, we're getting into the movie now, but was he at once? Am I reading it correctly that he was a professional wrestler?
Yes,
at some point, and now he's okay. I thought that's what the introduction of the movie was showing us, but I just wanted to clarify.
At one point he was I'm assuming they was trying to talk about the National Wrestling Alliance in the 80s, like the biggest draw, the heavyweight champion, which would have been your big money getter in the 80s, and fell from grace, I guess. Got old.
Yeah. Now we're not talking about Mickey Rourke. We're talking about the character itself, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I mean, okay. So let's do it. So Andrew, give us the read first, because this is, an older movie. I'm not sure everybody even knows what this movie is. So go ahead and tell us what IMDb says or whatever.
Okay, brother. A faded professional. I'm sorry, that probably sounded like I just coughed in the microphone. I don't even know what that was. A faded professional wrestler must retire, but finds his quest for a new life outside the ring a dispiriting struggle. Oh,
dispiriting.
Sorry. Dispiriting. Oh my God. I just had like a mental fart right there. Dispiriting. As in he didn't want to drink Sprite anymore. So
Yeah.
The struggle was
dispiriting. Taking those muscle pills and it depletes some of that brain juice.
Yeah, this is what happens when the school year is starting back up and I'm getting ready to start teaching kids next week.
Yep.
I totally agree.
Okay, so Mickey Rourke. I want to do this before we get into 5-word reviews, and we'll do that in just a second. So for some reason, Mickey Rourke in my brain didn't have a career before this movie. I don't know why. He's just one of those guys that he's been old always in my brain. Like he was always old. Like Tommy Lee Jones was never under the age of 50.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I can see that. Sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like even when he was doing like The Fugitive, he was like 44 and he looks like he's 60. You know what I'm saying? So Mickey Rourke to me is like the same thing. Like he looks like a guy that's been always old. And I remember very vividly when this movie came out, people were like, "Oh, Mickey Rourke is coming back." And all I could think of is from where? Like where did he come from? Where did he go?
Where did he come from?
Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe.
I didn't realize I did that until I did it.
I saw the brain click.
Yeah.
I saw the gear turn.
Yeah. That was
we all were going there.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. But he's done a bunch of things.
Yeah, he
bunch
goes
of
back
things
to the
on
70s.
purpose. Yeah.
Right, but as I'm looking at him, I don't know any of them. I mean, Sin City in 2005, I know that. Once
Yeah.
Upon
I
a
know
Time in
1941, right?
I've not seen 1941.
Oh my God.
I know.
Is that the sequel to 1917?
No.
Oh,
No. It's a comedy farce kind of a thing.
Yeah, but it has one of John Williams' greatest.
It does
scores.
have one of his greatest scores. You're right.
Yeah.
We played it in college. But he was in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which I don't remember, and I've seen that movie 4 or 5 times. He's in Man on Fire, which I've seen 3 or 4 times, but I don't remember him being in it. I do remember him in Sin City in 2005. And then before that, Get Carter. Don't remember him in that. I don't remember him in Point Blank. Wait, is that the same thing?
No, you're thinking Point Blank Break.
I'm thinking of Point Break.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the same one. Like I don't know him in Double Team in '97 with that really bad Jean-Claude Van Damme Dennis Rodman flick, which I have seen. I don't remember him. I just don't remember him before this movie.
My parents, when I don't remember what movie it was. It may have been Iron Man 2, right? He's in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It may have been that one, but my parents, I remember them saying, "Oh my gosh, that's Mickey Rourke. Like he's had a lot of work done, and he was almost unrecognizable, apparently, and I guess still is."
Well, he was obviously. I mean, he might have had his big times in the early '80s, right? You see a lot of those movies, early mid '80s, but none of the movies that I ever grew up on. Looking through here. So no, I'm right there with you, Shawn, because I only heard that this was the movie that brought him back to life and, made him a big star again. But honestly, I don't remember him being a big star before that.
Yeah. I mean, 1985's Year of the Dragon, which sounds like a Bruce Lee thing, but it's not. But it's, it's an Oliver Stone joint. But I mean, he's in it. He's one of the main. He's the main actor. He's the top billed, but never heard of it. I just didn't know this guy. So I mean, I'm glad he made his comeback in this movie, and this movie is fairly critically acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nominated for 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nominated for Best Performance by a Lead Actor, Mickey Rourke, and then Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role who was also a stripper, in Marissa Tomei. I mean,
well, I would give her that award.
Oh, sure.
I would give both of them an award.
I mean, he did win it for the BAFTA
you mean Mickey
Awards.
Rourke and Marissa Tomei, or
no, just Marissa Tomei's.
Okay,
2.
that's why
she needs 2 awards. Yeah, absolutely.
Sam was very excited about the boobs in this movie. He's probably texted me boobies at least 7 times since this movie.
It was so exciting. It was.
I was not aware.
Me too. It was such a wonderful surprise. It was.
Well, I was watching on the couch with my wife and couldn't hit rewind.
I was not expecting that from someone like Marissa Tomei.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It threw me off because I was like, that can't be her. That's got to be somebody else. And then I thought, well, my God, it is. That's Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, my wife is notorious for not knowing anybody. And I go, hey, that's Aunt May in the new Spider-Man movie.
Right?
She goes, really? And then just whips it off. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I was a little surprised, because the last time I saw her in anything was Spider-Man. And now this is almost 20 years later. We're, 15 years later. And I thought, man, she looks great. But then I realized this is 2008. So she was only 44 or 40 something when this was made.
Still looks great.
Though.
Yeah.
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 Still absolutely amazing.
I mean,
Two
to us,
thumbs
44 is not old.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And my wife did the same thing. She's watching the movie and we get about halfway through the movie and she's like, I can't figure out where I know her from. And I didn't say anything. I just wanted to see if she could figure it out. And then she just kind of paused and she goes, wait a minute. She's dating like a bigger guy, right? I'm like, okay, sure. And then she goes, Happy? I said, yeah. She goes, that's Aunt May. I said, yeah. And then we talked about some other roles that we knew her from. And then my wife was like, but the other guy is from Iron Man 2, right? I said, yeah. So it's the same thing. I mean, she's like, of course, my wife is not as versed in film as I am, but even she was like, oh, he's the guy from Iron Man 2. So half this movie's cast is Marvel connections, but right now, who isn't these days? So let's do some 5-word reviews, shall we? I think I will let Sam go first. Unless he's no longer on the call or he is muted himself or his controller went to sleep, or am I talking to myself?
Gone. He's gone.
Yep, he's gone. So, Drew, will you give us your 5-word review?
All right. I have 2. And I want to preface this with I went in with 2 mindsets on this movie. One, as somebody who likes film, so I wanted to review it as a movie. And then I went in, as you said, a wrestling aficionado. And I've got one of each. The wrestling person in me wanted to like this film. That's one. And the other one is Aunt May whips him out.
Yes, she did.
Very true.
Yeah, did not see those coming. That coming.
Those. You're good. Okay. Okay. Drew, can you call him since for some reason you're the leader of this call?
That's right. That's not a good thing. I don't know who put me in charge.
I don't know. I don't know why it did that. But when I try to add him, he's not there.
Yeah. Well, now am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay. Everything and anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need to name this one, crap. What's it called when everything does and could go wrong? It's a
Murphy's Pod.
Murphy's Law. Yeah. Murphy's Pod. There you go. Anyway. All right. So is it my turn?
Sure.
Okay. I've actually got 3 this week.
Okay.
Okay. The first 2 kind of go together, but the first one is stay in school, kids. Right. So that's my first one. My second one is always have a backup plan. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's my second one. But my one about the movie itself is muscle bound acting pins old story. And what that means, what I basically say, we've seen this story before. We've seen this is almost a trope in and of itself, where you've got the character who cannot stop doing what they're doing. They love it so much, or the assassin just has to keep going. The dancer has to keep dancing. There's all these different things that they just have to keep doing, even though it's harmful to themselves. So we've seen that over and over again. The difference in this one is that Mickey Rourke completely owns this character. he looks like a wrestler. He acts like a wrestler. He is this what's his name? Not Jim Rim.
Randy.
Randy.
Oh, I was gonna say, let's just see what Sam comes up with.
Oh,
Randy.
sorry.
Yeah, the Ram, right? So he is the Ram, and he absolutely owns this thing. I think he is as many of the reviews mentioned, a tour de force. I think his acting in this is out of this world. I've mentioned Marissa Tomei earlier. I think she does well. The story is interesting in and around this wrestler. I don't know this world very well, nor do I really seek it out. So it was kind of fun to kind of dive in a little bit to something I don't know much about. However, I teach community college folks, right? And I teach people who are second careers. I teach a lot of folks that have tried something, failed, and are coming back to try again. And it always breaks my heart to see those folks who just can't get past problems and jobs of the past. A lot of factory people around here just biding their time, thinking that factories are coming back and not realizing that industry has left them behind. And I kind of see this in this character where the man's had a heart attack. He's taking drugs that are only going to make his situation worse. And he, for all intents and purposes, he should stop. Doctor says stop. His whole world around him is telling him to stop, but he simply can't do it. And that is the tragedy of this whole thing, and why we get sucked in to a character like Randy the Ram Robinson. I found it fascinating. I thought if I had to nitpick, it was that I don't feel like there was a whole lot of chemistry between him and Marissa Tomei. I also kind of didn't like Evan Rachel Wood in her role in this movie. I thought her role was a little, maybe not played as well as the top two bills, but I enjoyed it, and I'm certainly glad I watched it, and I'm a better person for doing so.
Okay, I'm with you there. All right, Andrew, what you got?
I've got a couple, and since Sam's back, I scrapped that whole 5-word thing. I'm just gonna go with some lengthy and some short.
That's fine. Do whatever
reviews.
You're gonna do.
Modern Shakespearean tragedy.
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting. I like that.
Yeah, because it as I watched this, I thought to myself, this is very much a tragedy. In the sense that, I mean, it's left open ended. It's left leaving us to wonder: does he survive? Does he have a heart attack? Is that his last hurrah? And the way that I took it was that was it. He was done. He went out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
At least in his own mind, in front of his fans and his family, as he called it, or called them. And to me, it was kind of a tragedy. And many say he didn't get the girl. He didn't get his daughter back. For a moment, only to lose her again. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of saw it. But this movie has some moments of levity. It has some, I won't say, well, there were some times I laughed, but it was mainly that I saw Mickey Rourke, serving potato salad in a grocery store deli wearing a hairnet.
Balls.
Yeah. So there were some moments that I laughed at, but there were some others that I really just, I was connecting, with the actors in this. And my rule that if a movie keeps my attention, I think it's a pretty good movie, and this at least worth watching. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I went into this kind of kicking and screaming. I didn't want to watch it.
I agree. I was not happy.
And I told you at the beginning that wrestling and I have a previous relationship stemming from childhood. I never liked it. My grandfather watched it constantly. It was the only thing on in the house. That and Chuck Norris movies and Baywatch. And so Baywatch I didn't mind. But the but the wrestling, I couldn't stand it. But it was what was on. So as a kid, I just watched it. And because of that, I had the little action figures that you stick on your, which by the way, your thumb goes up the arse of the thumb wrestler. I don't know if you guys ever had any of those thumb wrestlers, but it was like professional wrestlers, and you put them on your thumb, and it was weird. But because of that, I got those toys, and I got to go to these professional wrestling events to see some pretty big names, but I didn't really like it. And so I went into this kicking and screaming. I didn't want to watch it, and I honestly didn't want to like it, but I did. I thought it was very well acted. I thought it was very well put together. I thought the story's very simple, but it's also a little complex because it's a story that I feel like a lot of people live that life. They can relate to it. It may not be wrestling, but they have something that they're not willing to let go of that keeps them from the other things that are probably more meaningful to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I've been there.
So I felt like I kind of went deep again. No pun intended.
No. That's good.
But yeah. I also had some others. I said Mickey Rourke can't dance or sing. And this hurts to watch. Like physically. Yeah. The scene where they are in the cage of death. God. And they've got the barbed wire and the nails and the staples. Lord. Like I literally was cringing. Like I was tensing up when I saw these things like piercing their body, like laying in the glass. And I don't know. It just, that part bothered me physically. But
can I talk about that for a second?
Go for
it. Sure. Yeah, man.
Defend what I like. That is actually a real professional, in air quotes, thing. CZW's Combat Zone Wrestling. How that's CXW, I don't know, or CZ, whatever. Yeah, CZW. That's a real thing. That is a very, very small portion of wrestling fans like that. I'm talking the lowest of the 1%.
Well, I'm going to interject just a little bit. I remember in the late 90s, Mick Foley and some of his stuff that he would do involved maybe not the crazy barbed wire glass, but there was quite a bit of blood, if I remember right, back then.
Yeah. Oh well, there's blood. There's blood in wrestling, and I'll get to that in a second too. It's okay. But this isn't wrestling; it's gore porn. I mean, and what they showed is legit, really what they do. The staples, the glass, all this crap. And I hate it. I hate it. I liked this movie until they showed this. This is when it just kind of clicked in my head that wasn't going to not like it, but this part in particular, I cannot stand because people see this and that's what they think it all is. And it's not. It's your lowest of the low. Did you notice how there was like 12 people in the crowd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is.
It's another paycheck, basically.
Yeah, it's he took it as a paycheck. I mean, they did show that part at least, and you could tell he didn't really care for it. I did like that part, but the fact that they put it in a movie really angered me. But on the opposite end, that first match he has, that little local gym thing, that was almost 95% accurate. Like the part where he made took the razor blade and cut it and put it in the tape, put it in his wrist tape. That is 100% exactly how they would do it. They would either put it in their wrist tape. Some guys put it in their trunks because they wear two pairs. They'll put it in between. Or one guy was notorious for keeping it between his teeth during the match.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. The only thing that wasn't real is when he actually did it and cut himself. But it was Hollywooded up and had to, because they will do it so fast. Like you'll throw him, like let's say you throw some guy over the top rope and he's supposed to hit his head and bleed. as you're throwing him over the rope, before he hits the ground, he will have already nicked his head and put it back before you even see it. Now, he laid on the mat and grabbed it and did it slow and made a big, giant gash. No, you would make about a 2 centimeter little just nick is all you need.
Yeah, you just need the effect.
But everything else they did. They Hollywood.
Kind of dumb it down for the audience.
Yeah, which I totally understand. No, not holding that against them. But everything else, like the moves, the way the match went, everything was like straight legit.
The crazy part is that Mickey Rourke actually cut himself. He legit pulled out a little piece of metal or whatever and cut himself, on camera. It's like, well, that's a take you can do one time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna have a scar on your noggin. So.
Well, that was a question that I didn't read the trivia, so usually I do, but that was a question I had for this movie. Do you think, which I guess you just answered that, do you think that this was method acting? I mean, I feel like some of that stapling and some of that, I don't know that all of the barbed wire cuts and everything was real, but I don't know. It looked real to me. Like, I know it's Hollywood, but there was a lot that maybe that's why I was so squeamish watching that scene.
Yeah, no, he did it. I'm kind of reading through some of the other stuff, but
you can do it. Yeah. You can do it more than once and not get scarred. Guys in the 80s used to do it about every night. You just make a tiny little one, do it over here, it'll heal. Right,
but you're not on camera.
Well, that's true.
You don't have a film camera that's
well, that's true.
When that's your moneymaker, like you get one shot. Yeah. I feel like all he's got to do is lay there and cut himself, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I also I'm looking through some of the trivia that only 12 and a half minutes of the 110-minute runtime includes actual wrestling, which is kind of cool. And Marissa Tomei's first day on set was the day she had to give a lap dance to Mickey Rourke. That's kind of funny. I like that.
Oh, dear.
So the only thing that I really knew about this movie, other than it was his big comeback, is I remember he complained about this movie.
He complained about it?
Yeah. So he does this movie, and then he kind of, gets his profile back up, and then he goes and does Iron Man 2, a couple of years later. And I remember him in an interview or something saying, yeah, it was nice to be on a film set where they had, chairs for the actors and craft services that actually had good food. And, because this was a $6 million budget film. And Iron Man 2 is $100 million budget, Marvel movie. It's before Disney bought it, but it's still a Paramount $100 million film. So that's not even close to the same ballpark. I remember that, and I remember being really annoyed by it. Honestly, it's just like, you chose the role. You read the script. You knew that it was a low budget thing. You can't complain.
Your contract said BYOC, bring your own chair.
Right. Exactly. Bring your chair and your green hat and let's go. So anyway, there's some other pretty fun trivia, like the scene at the counter, right? So that's a real, at
the deli.
Yeah. The deli, that's a real grocery store. And the majority of those people are just people. They're not actors. So they just had him back there. Cameras were rolling, and people were just like, well, whatever. So when he throws it to the guy who catches it in his basket, for the touchdown, that's all improv. All of that stuff behind the counter is improv.
So the little old ladies thought he was really working there.
Yeah. That's I think the whole bit with little more, little less, little more, you got it. I think that was an acting. I think that was scripted. Yeah.
I don't know. I worked at Kroger's meat department. There are people like that.
Oh,
we had a guy one time. He would come in every once a week, and if we didn't cut his steak to 1 pound perfectly, he would bring it back.
Well,
and he would take it home and weigh it again.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, that guy's got nothing to do but complain about things.
And he got a lot of floor spice steak. Not by me.
So before I get my 5-word review, since we're talking about the deli counter, when he looked down at that slicer, like we all knew it was about to happen, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My wife's exact words were, "He's not going to." Oh no.
So my wife's parents used to own a Jersey Mike's, and so finger damage on a slicer is a thing like that can happen.
Yeah.
And in fact, her parents were part of in a lawsuit because of it. I'm not going to get onto it on air. I can talk about it later. But it was just the most ridiculous thing. So as soon as the camera shows you that there's a thing there, I'm like, no! Like finger gore just. Oh, that gets me worse. Like eye gore and finger gore, like that stuff.
And Al Gore.
And Al Gore, yeah, that's all bad stuff.
Well, wasn't that finger
Igor.
gore in Dr. Sleep too that you had a good time with?
I can't remember. Maybe I don't remember
Gets
now.
her hand stuck and it degloves.
Oh yes.
Oh no, that's the what's the name of that?
Well, I think it was in Dr. Sleep and in that other Stephen King movie we watched where she's chained to the bed.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Same director too. Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game.
Where
Yeah,
she pulls part of her skin when she's trying to get unhandcuffed. Oh,
yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Oof.
All right. My 5 review. I took a page out of Andrew's book and did 1 for 6.
Okay.
So the first one was washed up wrestler dies fighting. So I assumed he dies.
You assumed he dies, really? Okay.
Yeah. The way that this movie is making you think, I think he does that last thing and drops dead. Like he is dead on the mat. That the other wrestler there has got a dead man on him right now.
It's happened.
Yeah. Because I mean, like everything in his life at that point had gone. Like he had a little redemption moment with Tomei. She's like, I'm here. Like let's go. Which it really annoyed me, honestly, because I'm like, what has he done to deserve her love? Like, what has he done really? He's because his last encounter with her was at the strip club where he basically like yelled at her and got escorted out. Like it was a bad deal. And then and
I think that is a lot of, I mean, unfortunately, it's a man's dream, not dream, but you could tell a man probably wrote this screenplay because Marissa Tomei, like I mentioned before, I didn't find the chemistry between them all that great because it would never happen in the real world, especially between this Marissa Tomei or someone like Marissa Tomei and Mickey Rourke. It just it wasn't there, and there are rules at these clubs that you just there's no fraternizing like that, right? And
I would never know.
They are there to basically make you feel like they're I don't want to say they're tricking you, but they are there to try to make you feel like you're a wanted person. And unfortunately, a lot of guys get feelings because they fall for that trap. And I could see why he might feel that way, but I did not see her story in that manner at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's supposed to kind of follow the same story as he, because she's kind of a washed up in her own way. She's a washed up dancer, and it's time for her to call it quits. There's people telling her she's too old. She's not getting the attention from the patrons like she did before. Yeah. And so, really. So she's kind of following that same. So I can see how there would be a connection between the two. My problem came because I thought there was a much bigger age difference. There's not. In real life, he's only like 10 years older than her. But in this movie, he looked like he was 30 years older than
He's
her.
Aged. Yeah, he looks like an old man. Yeah.
Like
it's also because
saddlebag.
She looks like she's 30 in the movie, I guess 35, but
and he looks 68 or something, it's something pretty big.
Yeah. I'm with you. Sam, you mentioned the writer of this movie. So the guy what wrote this movie is a dude named Robert, right? Robert Siegel. Seigel. I don't know. So he has 8 credits to his name. He wrote The Onion movie in 2008. I don't know what that is. It's a satirical interpretation of the world events and curious human behavior. Okay. And then he wrote this movie, The Wrestler. And then the next year he wrote something called Big Fan with Patton Oswalt, but it's a serious thing. It's like a serious drama.
Okay.
And then 4 years later he writes Turbo, the snail movie. Okay.
Oh dear.
And then he comes back with The Founder.
Yeah. Which I love.
Which is great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does something called Cruise, which he also directed, set in the 1980s. A young Italian American from the wrong side of the tracks falls for a Jewish girl from Long Island. So it's his version of West Side Story. And then he wrote the Pam and Tommy TV miniseries,
which that just came out, right?
Yeah,
that's
pretty new. So, I mean, he's still doing stuff, but it's just very strange. I mean, like, I don't know, it's all over the place. It really is. The Turbo is what really kind of confounds me. Is Turbo, but anyway,
good movie.
It is a fun movie. I have a good time with it. It's just it's what that is. It's not Pam and Tommy. My other 5-word review, which is actually 6 words, was he never knew when to quit.
Yeah.
There you go. I guess I haven't actually said this yet. I didn't like this movie.
Really?
I didn't. I will tell you this. I'll say this. And we've talked about this on the episode. If this is episode 411, we've talked about this 300 times. Sometimes my mood can affect the way that I view a film. And
and you knew that you were going to have such a hard time getting this podcast off the ground tonight.
Well,
that it was
it
was going to completely ruin your joy.
I was just kind of in a grumpy mood this week. I was just really tired, and it's just been a week from hell at work. And that kind of spilled over into home life. And then, and people are asking like, well, if you didn't really want to watch this movie, then why didn't you watch something fun? Like, oh, I don't know, Ready to Rumble or whatever. Well, it's because it wasn't streaming. And we like to do movies that are streaming and available to the public. And this movie was available. And I said, well, what about The Wrestler? And I'm not blaming Drew or anything because you said yes, but
I'll take the heat.
No, it's fine. I'm the one that picked it, but I picked it mainly because I remember it being kind of critically acclaimed and that it was like a really, really good movie. And it is a well-made movie. Yes. I'm not saying that it's not well-made. Yeah. It's well-made. I do think it's pretty well acted. I don't have a problem with, the daughter, whatever. I think you're kind of right. There's a little bit of the chemistry between Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei. It's fine. It's not great. The age, the apparent age gap is a little janky, but it wasn't enough that myself and my wife said ew. Like when they start kissing in the bar, neither one of us like, that's kind of
see, I was a little like ew.
Yeah. I mean, just ew because Mickey Rourke.
He looks like he would taste of cigarettes and
oh yeah,
cheap booze.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. And if steroids had a smell, I'm sure that's what it would be too. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Steroids and tanning bed.
Tanning bed oil, his hair dye, all of that
hair
stuff.
Dye.
Yeah. All of the chemicals.
All again are legit.
Yeah.
Professional wrestling things.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're absolutely right. The things that I did like about the movie, and I think we mentioned, like, Mickey Rourke is doing these stunts. There's not a stunt double.
Oh, he's doing the wrestling?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, I mean, like you see his face almost all of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even a bit where he gets on the ropes and he puts his feet on the dude's shoulders and spins him around. The camera never cuts and Mickey Rourke stands up. Like I watched that and thought, my God, he did that. When they climb up the ladder and fall onto the table, that shot never cuts. Like
I noticed that he was doing it.
He did that shot. Now, obviously, that's not real glass; it's sugar. and the table is meant to break in half.
Right.
But this 60-something, however old he is, I don't know how he is. Sam, you did the math, but like he did that stunt. So good on him for doing it. I mean, he's climbing the ropes. Now when he jumps off camera, onto a bunch of mattresses or whatever, but he still did it. He still had to climb up there. I mean, there's some skill there. So good for Mickey Rourke for doing the job. So, you earned the right to go sit down in the comfy chair in Iron Man 2.
Well, just reading through his bio, it says in his teenage years took up self-defense training at the Boys Club in Miami, and then it says he learned boxing skills and decided on an amateur boxing career. So he had some boxing and fighting training.
Well, and I got to give wrestlers their due in terms of talent and being able to do what they do. It blows my mind. Just the mere fact that they're flying through the air, that they're doing these acrobatics, that it is a very physical job that they are doing. And I think him being able to do that is pretty darn amazing.
Yeah. That was one of the surprises I had in this movie. I didn't expect him to be doing those. Like Shawn said, I figured they would show him, then cut it, and show him at the end of it.
Yeah.
But kudos to him.
These guys are
pretty well.
These guys are athletes. They are athletes.
Yeah.
Now the matches are obviously staged, but it's basically a big soap opera is what they're selling. But I tell you, it was pretty amazing. So
yeah. All right. I'm going to click through a few notes before we get into what will be the clips section. So I did make a note of, did we really need to spend 5 minutes of film time watching him serve customers?
I wrote that exact same thing.
Yeah.
That slowed the movie down way too much.
Oh, it came to a halt for me. And I know why. Right, the director did that on purpose. The director one is trying to show that he has a mundane life. We all have this stuff, right? Even, we have jobs that kind of suck sometimes, like mine does right now. And you just have to do the thing, and it's boring and whatever. And the director wants us to feel that, but my God, we were there a long time.
Yeah. Well, and that goes back to what I said about, you feel like you can relate, and the everyday Joe can relate to that very well. And it may have been, like you said, the director's attempt to bore us a little bit on purpose to experience that. You know what I'm saying?
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in juxtaposition to that job versus a wrestling job, the wrestling job's exciting. Right. The wrestling is fun to watch. It's an event, whereas his real job, his deli job, is boring as snot. So there you go.
Yeah, nobody screams and flashes you for potato salad.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not getting to have sex with a lady in a bathroom because you made that potato salad right.
I worked at the wrong Kroger's.
Yeah.
I will say another issue I had with the movies. I felt like his walkout at the end was not quite deserved. If anything, I thought he was going to cut his hand and then claim workers' comp, basically.
He doesn't seem smart enough to do that.
Yeah, maybe, but
but he's enraged though.
Yeah, but what is he enraged about? Yeah, somebody figured out he was working at the deli. I
think it to me it was a buildup of everything that was just coming out at that moment.
Yeah, that guy saying, "Hey, aren't you Randy the Ram?" and start doing that was just he couldn't take it anymore. He wanted to be, Randy the Ram, and with every scoop he slopped out of there, he realized he couldn't be Randy anymore.
He was Robin.
He was Robin. He wanted to be Batman. He had to be Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that whole walkout started with that name tag. when he got that name tag and he had to wear it and it said Robin, I think that just started off his entire downfall. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when he gave him that and said Robin, I thought to myself, well, that's going to come back to bite him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't like take that and like shove it up the manager's ass or something, but like physically like assault him with the name tag or whatever. But you're right. I mean, it was. I think it started because he did kind of rage quit in a new version in the 2008 version of Rage Quit. When you actually, in fact, rage and quit. But I think it started with embarrassment. He was embarrassed that he was having to do this thing. And when that guy recognized him, he didn't want to be recognized. He wants to disappear because when, like you said, when he's robbing the deli guy, like that's why he liked working in the back. It's because no one
could ever
recognized him. So that so when he said the only other job I can give you is out, he's like, oh, with customers. Like he doesn't care about people, or, he's good with people. He just doesn't want them to see him.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, when that guy was like, oh, hey, you're the dude, cause like when he was good with that, when he was, like at the gym, right. Those guys, like those kids, like, hey, I saw you in 92 or whatever. You're my first, whatever. And he's like, cool. And he's signing autographs, whatever. And he's taking pictures with the kids when they're at like that, or that wherever they were, like it looked like American Legion or something.
Yeah,
they had all their old stuff and their
BFW.
VHS tapes and the BFW or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And like he's there hanging out and like, these kids are coming up and getting pictures taken, whatever. Like he's good with the celebrity part.
Mm-hmm.
It was when, we're never going to see Tom Cruise serving deli. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I guess that's not the same kind of thing, but you know what I'm saying? So,
Mission Impossible potato salad.
I liked the rage quit. I really thought it showed his character, but because it did get to realize at that point he had already re-lost the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point it was like, well, what else can I lose? Nothing. I've lost my girlfriend. It wasn't his girlfriend. I've lost my daughter. Then to hell with this job, and I'm going to go do one last thing.
Yeah.
He's the daredevil that's going to do one last trick so that he can go out on his own terms, which is again how I interpreted it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's kind of it with my notes. You guys have anything else?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't.
Oh, I was going to say that first match that I liked on my podcast. When we watch a match, we actually give it a letter grade. I gave it a B.
All right.
Okay.
I like it. Okay.
Now the one after that, double F.
Which one was that one?
The gore porn.
The
gore
one
porn.
with all the sharp thingies. So I am going to shout out my coworker and friend Jeff, who I know will listen to this episode. Jeff is a huge wrestling fan. So when I told him today that this was the movie that we were doing, he actually got excited because he says, oh, I like that movie.
Oh, interesting.
And I said, really? And he goes, because it's very true to how it is. He says these guys that do whatever it takes to try to stay relevant and they just don't know how to hang it up. He says, it's a depressing film, but it's pretty accurate. I said, really?
Very.
And he said, yeah. And I mean, Jeff's he's a wrestling aficionado. I mean, like, Drew, this will kind of make your day. When I told him you were our guest, he goes, oh yeah. And he pulled his phone out and showed me how he's got your show queued up on his phone.
Oh, awesome. Hey, thanks, Jeff.
So he,
sweet.
Yeah, because when I told him, he goes, huh? And he scrolled through and he says, is that their logo? And I said, yeah, that's it. So he's got
awesome. That's pretty cool.
You're queued up on his phone there. So
that's pretty awesome. But to his point, I mean, I think whoever did the intro earlier, like Ric Flair just had his quote unquote last match 3 weeks ago, and he's 76.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I thought he was retired back in the 90s.
2006, he kind of retired. Then he ran out of money and did it for 2 more years. But nope, he had a. I mean, he didn't do much, and he passed out twice, and had to wake him up in the middle of it. But But he had his last match at 76. And he's already said that he hates calling that his last match, so it probably won't be his last match.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, cool story about Ric Flair. His daughter went to Appalachian State and was there when I was a student there.
Yeah.
Ashley?
Played on the volleyball team.
Volleyball team. Yep.
Yeah. He actually
she's like
came
7 foot tall.
Yes.
He actually came to one of her matches, and didn't he wrestle the mascot, our school mascot?
Yeah.
Joseph? Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah. We had a volleyball band back then, which really was just a bunch of guys who wanted to watch the girls play volleyball. So we took our instruments and played.
I've seen those shorts. I get the motivation.
Yeah. So one of the perks of being in that group is we got to see Ric Flair.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, some random volleyball match. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, time for clips, which again I can't play live, but
Oh, that was amazing. That one right there. Oh,
Yeah.
Shawn, that was
well, hold on.
that was hilarious. Yeah.
Best clip ever.
Oh my gosh, that totally encapsulates the entire spirit of this film.
I hate you right now, but I will play. Actually, you know what? Here's the crazy thing. Let's see how bad this is going to be. This is going to be pretty bad. But you know what? I have them on my phone. I do have them on my phone. So let's see how this goes. This is clip number 1.
Sacrificial ram.
And then the second clip is called Knock. So this is when he doesn't knock on the door, and his manager is in his office watching internet porn. I like it.
Did you forget how to knock? No. Let's try that again. All right? I'm serious.
Yeah. Just got to be more discreet about that, guy. Like, just you'll figure it out. Which, by the way, okay, this entire movie, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't until the kid said Call of Duty 4 before I realized what year this movie was.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell. Like,
yeah,
they did a good job with that, though.
It was weird, but it was weird. It was like he's using a payphone, which is weird. No one had cell phones. Again, 2008 is the year the iPhone came out. So I understand that. But like
nobody had a BlackBerry
no one had a BlackBerry or a Palm Trio or whatever, right? Like they would have still had cell phones around.
Yeah.
And so that was weird to me. And then all of the cars looked like and it wasn't until they started bitching about the 90s, which I have that clip in a little bit, is when I went, oh, this is in the 2000s. So then when he said, oh yeah, Call of Duty 4, I had to Google when that came out, and it was in 2007. I thought, okay, so this movie is in 2008. It's taking place when it's being filmed. It just never felt like that to me. So anyway, my point is that the manager needs to move his desk so that his computer isn't facing the door. So when he watches porn, he has a few seconds of before he can close a window.
And the curtain.
And the curtain or whatever.
Yeah.
My third clip here is it's called Meat, and that's where he's talking about the meat.
Oh, thank God it's not the same clip.
It's
endless parade of horny housewives.
Yes. Yeah. Asking for your meat.
A parade of hot, horny housewives begging for your meat.
Yeah, for your man meat.
Yeah.
I thought this was the clip of the manager again.
Yeah, it's the same clip. Well, it's still him talking. It's just a different clip of him talking. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
The next clip would be the 90s Sucked, which I captured mainly because as a child of I'm a kid of the 90s, basically. I was born in 82, so the 90s were my formative years. So I disagree completely. But, again, different age, which is fine.
Def left.
Then that Cobain pussy had to come around and ruin it all,
Like there's something wrong with wanting to have a good time.
I'll tell you something. I hated the 90s.
90s sucked.
90 fucking sucked.
Going back to the manager really quick, when they're having that interaction where he's, with the name badge, and the manager like pokes his head in the office and then he backs up and then he says something else, and he pokes his head back in the office and he's like, just wear it. That made me laugh. I don't know why it made me laugh so hard, but it was really funny. Just the way that the manager was playing as a typical manager would play, like, you know, not being an a-hole, just wanting the guy to do his job.
Yeah. Well, and so I have a clip of him in a second. So the next clip I have is when the customer comes up and says, "I want some chicken. Give me those big breasts." And he goes, "Yeah, that's what I want, some big breasts." And they laugh. That was pretty funny.
Give me 2 big breasts.
2 big breasts coming up. That's what I want, 2 big breasts.
And then the last clip I have is that scene, Andrew, when he's like, "Do I really have to wear this?" And he goes, "No, you're special."
So I really got to wear one of these things?
No, you're special.
I like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is so janky. Anyway, we're about to play our game. So this week, our game is sponsored by...
That's Serena over there.
And that's Naomi, and we are the hosts of Weird Mythic Podcast.
Yes, we are. Our show, Weird Mythic, covers stories about cryptids, which is what brought us together to create the show. But we also like to talk about anything paranormal and strange that happens in the world.
We post episodes every Sunday on different topics, and we would love to have more listeners. We're on all podcast platforms, and you can find us on all social media sites as well. Give us a listen, send us some personal stories to share on the show, and we will love you forever.
Yes, we will. We would love some personal stories, some cryptid encounters, and we hope that you listen and tune into the show.
You can listen to Weird Mythic Podcasts wherever you get your podcast fix.
This is the game called Hey, Did You Notice? This is a game where Andrew has created. I should have asked. Andrew has created.
Yep.
Has created 5 questions to put. This week it's going to be Sam versus our guest Drew.
Okay.
It's a back and forth. They're not trivia. It's just things did you notice in the movie. Drew, you go first. If you get the answer right, you win a point. If you get the answer wrong, Sam has a chance to steal a point. Whether you win or lose, I will still mail you stickers once they come in the mail because I had to order new ones. So, ready to play?
As I'll ever be.
All right, Andrew.
Woo-hoo. Let's do it.
All right, Drew. In 1986, the Ram got his bicep ripped open from a nail in a 2x4 wielded by what wrestler? What was the name of the wrestler that hit him with the nail in the 2x4?
What is the Ayatollah of Iran?
All right. Good guess there. Sam.
Macho Man.
I have always been fascinated by wrestlers' names and how they get them. And this guy's name is Billy Bob Banjo.
Banjo. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
can
right.
I did
crap.
write down about the 2x4 though, because you'd never have a nail in one.
Right.
Yeah. Well.
Ow.
All right, Sam. This question goes to you. What is the name of the hospital the Ram is taken to after his heart attack?
Oh. Our Mother of Mercy.
Drew.
Sacred Heart.
Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital.
No, right.
Interesting.
Yeah. You see it while he's on his way out of the hospital.
Did anyone else watch that whole hospital scene and think, how in the hell is he going to pay for any of that stuff?
Well,
Yes.
I thought that too, right? I was like, man, he's going into debt big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick, Andrew. One of the real things, since we're here talking about debt and drugs and things. So the guy in like the next scene that's giving him all the drugs and whatever. So that actor, after this movie, after he was done about 4 months later, was arrested for drug possession and for intent to sell.
So those weren't props.
Kind of funny.
No, well, so there's another piece of trivia
Method.
that the cocaine that he sniffs is a prop cocaine. It's like it's basically like
Smarties.
no. It's like
No, that burns.
Yeah. No,
Don't
it's
ask.
like a health bar or like a GNC.
Like a vitamin D or something.
Yeah, it's like a
isn't it?
vitamin
It's like-
thing, right? And so when Mickey Rourke did it, because it was not cocaine, it really messed him up.
Okay.
Like when you think you're drinking Coke, but oops, it's Sprite.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So we're back to Drew. How many phone numbers were on the back of Stephanie's younger picture? His daughter Stephanie had a yearbook picture with phone numbers on the back.
4 crossed out and 1 written in, so 5.
That is correct.
Crap.
Hey,
I
good
was
job.
going to have that one too. Ugh.
All right. Sam, this goes back to you.
Okay. All right.
What children's toy was wrapped in barbed wire and used in the CZW Cage of Death fight?
A children's toy. Oh dear. A popper machine. I don't know.
What is a popper machine?
You know those little vacuum things kids push in that pops.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm a child of the '80s. We didn't have highfalutin technology back then. It was all manual.
Highfalutin technology.
Okay. No, that's not right. Drew.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry, I was just seeing red through most of the scene, so I'm going to go with the toy Glockenspiel.
Nice guess. But it was a stick horse. You know, like a old tiny.
Oh, that's
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was close. Mine had a
Yeah.
stick on it too.
There you go.
For some reason, I thought so. Didn't he had like a crutch, right? It was like it looked like
Yeah.
a medical crutch, and then that's when the guy gave him his prosthetic leg.
Use my leg.
Which I'm sure that's something that you would actually see.
It's happened. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, I'm
taken
sure.
from a real incident.
All right, Sam, this goes to you, right? No.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a prosthetic leg.
Okay. What is the Ram holding in his hand when he asks his boss for more hours at the grocery store?
It's a chicken
The f-
breast, isn't it?
The first time.
Oh. I don't know. Chicken breast would be my best guess.
Drew?
Clipboard?
He has in his hand, this is debatable, but a Twizzler or a Red Vine, whatever you want to call it.
Oh.
Because he's kind of gnawing on it there when he asks for more hours.
Nice.
Well, Drew, you're the 1 point winner.
Dang it.
Nice.
There you go.
There we go. Good job.
Got lucky. Total
Winner,
shot.
winner,
in the
chicken
dark.
dinner.
Yeah.
All right.
Go get him.
Very cool. All right. So yeah, once the stickers come in, I will mail you one.
All right. Appreciate it. Awesome.
All right. Time for our top 3 game. And this is where we play our game of top 3. And
What music goes with it, Shawn? I need you to describe it.
this is where he says,
Excuse me while I whip this out.
clips. We're doing top 3, and the top 3 is characters that are the characters that are just past their prime, because that's kind of what the theme of this movie is
Yeah.
past his prime. And I will let Sam go first.
Okay. I'm still not 100% sure I did this right.
That's fine.
But like I did more characters who would never give up.
That's fine.
Samwise Gamgee, you know, he probably should have just stopped what he was doing and just let it go. Rocky Balboa, you know,
Yeah.
should maybe
Okay.
have stopped at some point.
Yeah. Like that after Rocky 2.
Yeah. And then Inigo Montoya was kind of obsessed.
Okay.
And it only hurt him in the end. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I'm good with that. Drew, what you got?
I also did the characters that never give up.
That's fine.
I did Rudy from Rudy.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Luke from Empire Strikes Back. Never gives up on his dad. And third is, and his name in the movie just completely slipped my mind and I didn't write it down, but Weird Al's character from UHF.
Oh. Newman. It was something Newman, right?
Yeah.
George Newman.
George Newman. That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll have a Twitter friend that would like that reference.
Yeah, we do.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah. Well, if you're going backwards and listening in about a year or in about 40 episodes, you'll get to hear our Weird Al, our UHF episode with Lauren.
I will listen to that in the morning. Forget it. I will skip it. Go right to that in the morning. I didn't know you did that one yet.
Yeah, we did it with Lauren from the Beard Al podcast. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hey,
I've
Shawn,
actually eaten a Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
Nice.
Yikes.
Right now would be a great time to hear Lauren laugh.
All right, wouldn't it be though?
Yeah, man, that would be great. Actually, here, just add it right now. Isn't that awesome? That's just
her laugh is infectious.
It's contagious. It's great.
It is. I hate you both right now. I went with the characters that are kind of past their prime. Okay. So my number 3 is Bruce Willis in Red.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 2 is Galaxy Quest with the Tim Allen character.
Nice.
You know, he's past his prime. He wants the fame again, and then he tries to do it with the show. And then my number 1 is I actually just watched this past weekend with my son. Is Kirk in Star Trek 2, where the whole movie is about how he's old and whatever, and he's having a hard time. Is that
the one where he saves Spock from falling off a cliff, or is it vice versa?
No.
That's 5.
That's 5, which is we're doing that in November.
How come I remember that scene?
I don't know.
You talked about it on a podcast about 3 months ago. Oh. I heard it yesterday.
Nice.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Absolutely. See, I know you haven't watched that one, Sam. There's no reason.
I've seen clips of it because it looks horrible.
Oh yeah, everything in that movie kind of is, for the most part. There's some moments there. Anyway, Andrew.
I also went with Star Trek, but not that one. I went with Star Trek Generations because Kirk is also very old there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
common theme with poor Kirk.
Yeah. Invincible with Marky Mark Wahlberg.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then number 1, I had a movie that's not just one person who's washed up, but every of the Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We should do that for this show. That would be.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Twitter was engaged on this, but not really the way but I mean, we changed it anyway, so I don't really care. So Screen Nerds Podcast says another good question would be best wrestling match in a film. Some to consider. Fabulous Freebirds versus Greg Gagne. Jim Brusnell and Tonga Kid from Highlander. There's a wrestling match in the Highlander movie?
No, I think they're answering you, but he said you should have done the wrestling match, like I said earlier.
No. I understand what he's saying. I'm confused about parentheses Highlander. There's a wrestling match in the movie Highlander. Was that what I'm to understand from that? Because I've recently watched that movie and I don't remember a wrestling match.
Mm-mm.
So
it's a wrestling match in Nymphomaniac.
I'm sure there is. I wouldn't know. His second one was Bonesaw McGraw as Randy Savage and Peter Parker in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I just watched that 2 days ago.
Nice. Bonesaw is ready. And then Rip Thomas, Hulk Hogan versus Jake Bullet, Demolition Axe in No Holds Barred.
Terrible movie.
Okay.
There's that. Heather Sachs at Dork of All Dorks says, I think she went with the people that don't give up or never quit. Friday the 13th, Part 2, Alien, Hidden Figures, Rocky, Shawshank Redemption, and Princess Bride. So just characters in general that don't give up. Ace Cat says, this discussion about a wrestler who doesn't know when to hang it up. Yeah, but enough about Ric Flair. So making a joke about Ric Flair, which I appreciate. There you go. Thank you, Twitter, for that. It is now time for this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
We give this movie a score from 0 to 10. This episode is going to get a 0, but that's fine. Andrew, what would you give it?
IMDb has it parked at a 7.9. So obviously people like this movie. I kind of agree. I think it's pretty good. Again, it's not something I would want to watch multiple times, and I probably won't watch it again ever. But it is done well, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. And if it were on, or if somebody I know wants to watch it again with me, I would be fine to do that. But it's not something I'm probably going to go out and watch again. So for that fact, I am going to drop it a few points. I'm going to put it about 7.1.
All right. That's very fair. Drew.
All right. I don't think I've said yet. So I hated this movie. I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
I did not like it. Pacing was all over the place. The fade to black. Come on, the Sopranos ending. I didn't like it. The wife hated it too, so I guess I have to hate it also. Not really. I'm just joking, but I didn't like it. The authenticity at the beginning of the wrestling really had me engaged, and they showed the gore porn stuff, and I hated it. And then I think between the four of us here, I think I was the only one that liked the daughter's performance in this, right? Because I think everybody else said it was terrible.
She was fine. I didn't think she was terrible. Yeah. I thought she was fine.
I thought she was really good. I mean, her character, I think she should have had a little more and tried to get that more engaged with her dad, but
right.
It just seemed a little weird, and because she wasn't there enough. I mean, I know she's been just gone, and he suddenly shows up, and you can't have him all in her life, but yeah. But no, I didn't like it. Aunt May was a plus. She's probably what's getting this. But this one was down for the count and kicked out at 2.5 for me.
Holy crap.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I really hated this movie.
All right. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, no, I was just there was one more thing I forgot. Did the hearing aid bother you like the microphones do?
No. Why?
Well, every time he took his hearing aid out or put it in, there was like a high-pitched whistle.
But that's a thing.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. So my mother.
It's not like a feedback thing with a microphone?
No. So my grandmother-in-law has that, and when she takes hers out, you can hear that a little bit because you're changing everything. You're changing its environment 100%. So it's used to when you pull it out, it's hearing itself, which is what the feedback is. It's literally hearing itself. So whereas in movies, if the microphone is not getting feedback when you walk up and touch it, it shouldn't get feedback.
Right.
So, or even better, in Edward Scissorhands, electrocute you.
There you go.
Can't believe they didn't have that in that one scene.
Sam.
All right. Well, I did enjoy this movie, and if I would only watch this movie from 20 minutes and 20 seconds to about 20 minutes and 23 minutes and 48 seconds, it would be a solid 10. It would be absolutely a freaking 10, a flippin' 10, no doubt about it. You know, God's gift to man between that time period, but it is a movie that I don't think I'd want to watch again, only because it is one of those hard watches. It's a difficult movie to get through, and it's sad. So I got to drop it a little bit, and I'm going to kind of go with IMDb, 7.82 out of 10.
Okay. I didn't have a good time with this. I was a little bored at times. I think it's a well-made movie. I think it's well acted. I think, I don't know, the parts that are improv, I can tell they're improv. Like when he's just talking with the other guys, it just feels like just dudes hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it feels like if you had a camera on us right now, it would be like that, just dudes hanging out, which is fine. But I don't know. It's a good movie. I just didn't enjoy myself with it. But you know, if I was in a better mood, I would have had a better time with it. But I wasn't, so I didn't. So I'm just gonna give it a 6. It's not a bad movie. It's a good, well-made movie that, again, 2 people were nominated for Oscars, or at least one person was. No, they both were. They were both nominated for Oscars. I just didn't care. There's Marissa Tomei is like the only likable character in the movie. I guess the daughter can be likable, but we're not with her very much to like her. She's sympathetic, I guess, but anyway, I just didn't care. So anyway, that's our show. Yeah. Drew, tell our listeners where they can find your show.
All right, you can find us on all the major podcasting platforms. We're the Attitude Era Wrestling Review. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at AEWR Pod. Or if you are just one of those boomers and that character limit really pisses you off, you can email us at awr316@gmail.com. I wish my partner could have been here today because you would have loved to hear his voice. Him and Andrew could have had a voice off.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I introduce him to my show every day or every week as the man with the velvet vocal cords.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, mine are good when Shawn modulates them for me.
Just that one time.
Yeah.
On his old computer, of course.
No, it was actually
not the one he's on tonight.
No, it was actually this one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was this one. This was when many of the weeks, Sam, you weren't on, but I accidentally had some kind of filter on Andrew's, his voice coming.
When you guys were doing the westerns, wasn't it?
Yeah, coming in, it sounded like the entire movie he was doing a Sam Elliott impersonation. It wasn't until later when I took the filter off that I realized it was a filter. Oh my gosh! Anyway,
I wish it was that one. Nice.
Yeah. But that's our show. Thank you all so much for listening. This is probably going to sound like a weird episode, and I apologize, but we still had a good time doing it, and that's all that matters. And I hope that you enjoyed listening to it as well. Go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. Pretty soon, it's going to go back to cheapseatreviews.com because, well, we have to. You go to Linktree there and find links to all of our social media, as well as our patreon.com/cheapseatreviews. Our first batch of stickers are coming out. So if you want one of those really cool stickers that Sam did the art for, you got to get on that Patreon. That's the only way you're going to get those cool stickers. So patreon.com/cheapseatreviews is how you do that, and support us there. That would be great. And next week, what are we doing? Oh, I'll tell you what we're doing next week. This is one of the fun parts about being the host of the show, when I don't tell you guys what we're doing next, is because I get to say things like, next week we're having guests, Meg from the Bed, Behead, or Wed podcast. I guess it's actually Bed, Wed, or Behead. That's how it is.
There you go.
Podcast.
Yeah.
And we are doing Clueless.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that in forever. Holy
1996 something Clueless.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going from The Wrestler to Clueless. I wanted to have something different there. So that's what we're doing next week. I'm very excited for it. That's it. That's the show. Thank you all so much for listening. So on behalf of Drew, Sam, and Drew, this is Shawn saying thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week for Clueless.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.